Hi, this is Brennan Davis from Bedrock Games and the Bedrock blog, and today I'm going to be reviewing a movie called Sifu vs. Vampire. This is a 2014 film directed by Daniel Chan and written by Wong Jing. I liked this movie. I had more fun watching this movie than I've had in a long time, and I thought that it was really funny. I was laughing out loud. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It knows exactly what kind of film it is, and I think that's one of the great things about it. I think that's why it works. It also has some really good special effects, and the fight choreography I thought was top notch. I really liked the way that the fight scenes played out, and I liked the solutions for overcoming the threats in the film. So number one, this is a vampire movie in the style of Encounters of a Spooky Kind or Mr. Vampire. If you like those kind of films, I think you'll like it. If you take your vampire films too seriously, you probably won't enjoy it. If you're bothered by like sexual humor and stuff like that, you probably won't enjoy it. I had a blast. I really had a lot of fun watching this film. I liked it, number one, because it had a lot of scenes that could shift tone rapidly, which is, again, this is one of the reasons why I like a lot of these Hong Kong films, because they can really give you a complete experience over the course of the film, but you're always fully engaged with each moment, and it doesn't feel weird going from comedy to drama. It just kind of works. And this movie does that, but it also is even single moments in the movie are capable of playing to two tones, which I thought was pretty cool. So like there's a backstory about a vampire, and the master, played by Yuan Biao, it's sort of his personal history from when he was younger, and his father, like I think 30 years ago, and I'm going to spoil some things, but his father dies sort of trying to rebury a vampire, and it's a really sort of dramatic scene. It's got a lot of creepy action, but also it's very comedic. So one of the sort of the things that happens in the scene is he needs virgin blood in order to kill the vampire, and so he says, "Son, I need some of your blood because I need virgin blood," and he cuts him and gets the blood, and it turns out his son isn't a virgin, and so then the father, he's able to suppress the vampire and temporarily stop him, but he dies in the process because the sword coated with the blood isn't effective. And as he's there dying, it's sort of played for laughs and drama at the same time. And he says, so you're not a virgin. And he's kind of like, that's my boy. He's sort of proud of him. And it's just, I don't know. I just thought it was a funny, but also moving moment in the film. And a lot of the movie is like that. Again, the sexual humor in this is really direct, but it's really playful. And I thought that it was refreshing. I really there's something kind of innocent about it that I don't think I've seen this kind of humor in a while in a movie, and I thought it worked, and it was the way that the actors just committed to whatever they were doing at the moment was hysterical. So I won't say too much about that, but just if you're sensitive to that stuff, it's probably not going to be for you. It doesn't get like titillating or crazy. It's just very sort of honest in the way that it deals with the sexual humor. There's also a cameo in this. There's an online reviewer named the Silver Spleen, and he has a very early cameo that's not that short. I mean, I've seen movies where people have cameos where they're in the background and stuff, but he actually has a walk-on role here. And I think I knew about it, but I must have forgotten because I was totally surprised by it. I think I must have seen this review before, and where he mentions that he's in the movie, but I was surprised by it, and it was if you're a fan of that channel, you'll that's something to look forward to. And it's early in the film too, but I really liked the casting in this. I thought that Yuan Biao was great as the master. I thought that Ronald Chang as Nicky was really enthusiastic. He was perfect for this role. This character is like he's got to rapidly shift from being like a total goofball to being super serious, and it works. It works throughout the movie. But the surprise in this film, I thought, was the Bala character played by Bella Law, who is very easy to write off early in the film. She's sort of a ditzy actress. She's the girlfriend of the guy who's like the main villain in it. He's not the head vampire, but he's like the grandson of the head vampire. And he's just this TV executive who's just a terrible person, and she's sort of his superficial girlfriend who's basically trying to sleep her way into an acting career, and again, she's very easy to write off because her character is so superficial and ditzy. But as the movie goes on, she has some of the best moments in the film, and I think she does it really well. So again, I'm spoiling a few things, so apologies, but it's essential if I'm going to talk about this character. So midway through the movie, she starts becoming a vampire. She gets bitten, and her first concern is that she's going to be gross and hopping around like vampires in the movie, and it's all these sort of very superficial concerns. And then when they try to apply the cures to her, one of the things that they use in these films to cure vampirism when people get bit is rice, and there's different ways that it's done. And so as soon as rice is mentioned, she's immediately worried about how the carbs will affect her figure. And but then when they get to the point when they're curing her, she kind of explains why she is the way she is and why she has the ambitions that she does, and I think it's actually quite touching. And also, it just, I don't know, I just found her a very likable character by the end of the movie, and she was a surprising character because I didn't expect her to become what she became. So I definitely will recommend this film to anybody who likes this genre of movie. Again, I think if you're really uptight about sexual humor, if you're easily offended, or if you take your horror movies too seriously, this isn't going to be for you, because this is all over the map in terms of tone. But it's exactly what I'm looking for when I go to a movie like this. This is exactly the experience I want that I often don't get, and so I just had a great time. I was laughing out loud when throughout the whole movie. I was on the edge of my seat in the action sequences, and I was just very interested in learning the backstory and seeing what happened. And so I thought it was a really effective vampire movie. It was and again, like I said before, it knows exactly what kind of film it is. So it's not trying to be anything that's super intelligent. There is a little bit of a subtext to the movie, but again, there's so much toilet humor and stuff that I think it knows what it is, and you see it throughout the movie from the very beginning to the very end. I think this movie, I don't remember exactly how it starts, but I think it begins with toilet humor and it ends with a sex joke. So and again, I think a lot of what makes those jokes work is the way the actors commit to the humor, and again, in the case of Ronald Chang, just the enthusiasm. But yeah, I thought it was a very fun movie, and I will definitely be watching it again. I often divide my movies into two piles. I have movies that I intend to watch again, and I have movies that I saw them, but I don't really plan to see them once again. The idea of watching them again, in the near future is not something that I'm looking forward to. Even if I liked the movie, a lot of movies you don't want to see right away again. But this is a movie I wouldn't mind watching again tonight. And that's always a sign of a good movie to me. If I immediately start watching the movie again, or if I'm like, hey, I want to see that movie, and it's only been a day or two, I think that's to me that's a fun, good movie. I'm not, I think this isn't a film that's gonna get, it's not gonna be called a great film, but I don't know. This is what I'm looking for when I go to see movies. So I really enjoyed it, and again, it's available in DVD. I got my copy through Amazon, and I saw that. I think they still have some copies, but this is the kind of film that some of these films are harder to get. Like when they're like 5 years out, and so. I would definitely suggest, if you're interested in watching it, trying to grab a copy, because I don't think it's available on Blu-ray. I could not find it on Blu-ray, and I think I had to work to get this one a little bit. So anyways, again, the movie is called Sifu versus Vampire. It's a 2014 film directed by Daniel Chen, and One thing I wanted to mention: the fight choreography is great in this movie. I really liked the fight sequences, and I loved the solution for killing the vampire and the way it was done. And I liked all the callbacks to like the other Mr. Vampire movies this isn't part of the Mr. Vampire series, but to the Mr. Vampire movies and films in that genre. There were a lot of things that were reminiscent of earlier films, and so uh, I had a very fun time. This was a fun movie. That's how I would describe it. It's a fun vampire film that doesn't take itself too seriously and is refreshing in a lot of ways. And if you don't take yourself too seriously watching it, I think you'll have a great time. So, anyways, I will let you go, and I will talk to you later.